I'm just gonna get my Red Theorist jacket on. How do I look? I was ready for the FNAF movie that just came out today. Hello everybody, my name is Anna Weiser, and today I just got back from the movie theaters. Why? Because I watched the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. If you are familiar with my channel and some of the videos that I made so far on the trailers, I got excited about it, and I was like, hey, if I was going to react to the trailers, I'm going to do a review. I'm going to do a review on it. It's going to be the only review I ever do. Don't ask me. It's my channel. I'll do whatever I want. Just a simple basis on what the movie is about. It's a security guard who goes out, who runs out of options, custody drama, and tries to look for a job that he can earn money for, only to wonder what's going on in the pizzeria, and chaos starts to ensue. Now, with that plot, that seems simple enough. However, if you are a fan of the franchise, and you're familiar with the very convoluted lore of it, some of that simple basis of the games, which are absolutely popular, become like a story. It's like, it could be made into a movie if you do it right. And that's what people are wondering. Is it worth the hype? Because a lot of the critics are going so hard on it. It's like it's currently in 24% Rotten Tomatoes, which is absurd, absolutely absurd. But the audience score is like 88 to 89%, which is good. Is it worth the hype? I'm gonna give a spoiler-free review, and I'm gonna give a spoiler review, and then I'm gonna finally wrap it all up of what could have been better, what could have been the FNAF movie, and then just have a little outro afterwards. If there are chapters down below, timestamps to let you know when the spoilers are gonna be coming along, get on out of there. You got your review spoiler-free if you have not seen it, because I still think it's still worth watching in theaters for FNAF fans. Because I walked out of there kind of morbidly mixed on the entire film. Like, there's a lot that it does right, but there's a lot that it does wrong. And for some of the critics who were like, this is a snooze fest, this is not scary at all, they are not far off. There's gonna be shocking imagery for younger people, but for older people who want to find something scary, might I suggest Saw X, because that's still in theaters. One of the good things it does right, the Jim Henson animatronics, they're gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous. And the entire set, great. Absolutely great. The acting is great. Like, Josh Hutcherson, spot on. And Matthew Lillard just steals the show. Absolutely steals the show. What I do want to say, though, Elizabeth Lale did have a questionable acting choice. And then a little bit of another downside is that Matthew Lillard is only here for a few minutes and then gone. Just gone. And I would have loved to see more of him because he was absolutely great. And another thing too, there were two scenes that I liked. They were great. And then some scenes that could have worked on the surface if they would have made sense in the lore and the game basis. Like, but I'll get that out of the way in the spoilers. This is spoiler-free. But there's a lot of downsides. Like, there's a lot of cool references you'll catch here and there, and then cool YouTubers you'll meet. Corey X Kenshin, which you saw in the trailers. I'm not gonna mention who else, but it was a complete surprise to me. When I saw him, I was like, I looked familiar, and it's like, if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Yeah, it was like a great time spotting this and that, and it's hard to give my honest review on it without wanting to give out spoilers, because there's scenes that could have worked, but it were panned out even unevenly, and there are a lot of downsides, but like they were still enjoyable for people who don't really care about the lore. So if you're like one of those kinds of people, yeah, it's still worth watching, and there's a lot of stuff you can go into the theaters in this movie for to nerd out about if you're a FNAF fan. So like, if you want to see this movie, invite your friends. Invite your friends. It will be a fun time, a great experience, and trust me, you will not regret it. It will be worth it in some cases. Now, since this is people like to go for like a rank, I'm gonna just say this is one of those guilty pleasure movies. Guilty pleasure movies. Period. I find it to be a guilty pleasure. I see there's some rewatch value. I could replay some scenes. There's some stuff there that's very interesting. But now, the spoilers, because there's a lot I need to get off my chest that I found. Stuff that could work, that didn't work, or it was too convoluted, and stuff that I found, like, could have cut it out short. Like, firstly, the dream sequences, because it's like, the movie has, like, a pattern that you can get used to. It's like, daytime, nighttime dream sequence, daytime, nighttime dream sequence, daytime, nighttime dream sequences, and then a couple occasions would be like a couple of kills, and they pushed the PG-13 rating. Trust me, there was a scene where I go, ooh, that could have been better if this was rated R. Some of the scenes that I found enjoyable in some cases were like Table Fortress scene. Animatronics got along with Abby, and they went from being kind of creepy to being like, oh, they're just cute, cuddly teddy bears, who, yeah, this it kind of feels like something like if I was at Freddy's and these were my friends. On the surface, it's cute, it's fun, it's something I find people would enjoy, but when you look at it in a lore standpoint and just what the game's brought out, makes zero sense, because these animatronics are quirky, they are hostile, 100% hostile, they will kill you no matter what, but this movie made it out to be, oh, if you're a child, they'll leave you be. Have you seen the lore of the back? Have you seen the lore? Another thing too, I wish we got more Spring Bonnie. I really do wish we had more Spring Bonnie, because if we did have more Spring Bonnie, that would have been amazing. Because the awkward, like the more human movement kind of felt a little uncanny, which were good signs. But we didn't have enough of him. He was just running, kicking, and stabbed once and choked once. That's it. And that was all we got. I wanted more of him, because Matthew Lillard was great as a role. He just steals the show. Another thing too that was another complaint, just too predictable. For a film like this that's supposed to be like a custody drama, beyond predictable, which for people won't be a problem with, but for like critics who are trying to find something to complain about, yeah, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to look for another film to be oohed and dazzled about. Like, another thing too that was cool, that could have been the break-in scene. That was great. That was great, but it fell flat in some things, because the cupcake. If it was Chica doing the killing, that would have been better than the cupcake, which firstly jumps, flies. It was funny, okay? I found it more hilarious than I did scary because of the cupcake. the cupcake made it less scary. You understand what I mean? It's just like that. The one scene from the trailer where the hand reaches out from the mouth kind of gave me the hug vibes, but when you see it, what actually went down was like grabbed her into the mouth and just chomped her in half. Also, can I even just mention what a terrible security guard Mike Schmidt is? Yeah. Could have reported the bodies. You know, I'm just saying. And another about this movie that I kind of wish they would have explained more is because we had theories years now that just seemed clear at this point, where that Mike Schmidt was just a hidden name for Mike Afton, and it seems like he's not even the son of William Afton, which does not make sense. Seems like a retcon. And funny enough, this was screenwritten by Scott Cawthon. He should have known this. Can he not even keep track of his own lore? That's what I find weird. I thought this was going to be, will this be the movie that reveals the lore, whether we were correct or not? And I went into this being, this is it. Boy, I was wrong. I found it hard to be suspenseful on, and I wouldn't call it a horror film. It's a light thriller. I found no thrills. I found no suspense. I felt nothing. I felt nothing. And I felt sad. I felt sad that I felt no suspense. Because that's what the FNAF games are. You're trying to get a pattern going, and you're trying to figure out how to stop these animatronics while trying to keep the power going. And that's another thing, too, that I have another complaint with, is the setup of the office. There's only one door, and it's not even the metal door where it goes up and shut. And it's not even on both sides either. It's just a vent on one side and a door on the other. It's like, you're not sticking to continuity. The point of the movie was to stick to continuity, right? Right? Another cool thing that could have been is if he had to figure out how to maintain power instead of having a breaker. Come on. Or at least have the breaker on. Turn it on. Have a battery source. And when it runs out, just whoa. That could have made room for the Toreador March. You know that when Freddy's face begins to glow in one side of the door, you know, the left side. That would have been cool. And he could try to find a way to sneak out. Or that could have been the cold open. The cold open. Runs out of power. It's completely dark. Because the cold open was pretty good. It just could have been better. It was a lot of... This movie was a whole lot of... This was good and all, but it could have been done better. And then all the filler stuff to, like, get to know the backstories and all that just feels like a retcon, and I feel like I want to sleep, but I want to see if there's more to this than I think there is. You get the idea. Like, I'm trying not to hate on this movie. Honestly, I find it to be a guilty pleasure. This is because, like, on the surface, what it is right now, removing all, like, the lore aside and all the gameplay aside, it's a fun movie. It's fun to invite your friends to. But if you look at it for what it was, what's supposed to be, like, the games, it does so much wrong. Now that I got all that away, what could have been filmed? What if we got something else? What could have been filmed? Now, I keep track of the lore. Game theorists, by the way. Shout out to you, Matt Pound. You're great. You may not see this, you may not receive this, you may not even know about this. Ever. But I still genuinely want to know that you make great theories. And I found the ultimate timeline to be pretty cool. And I feel like that could have been the FNAF movie. Like, you know, honestly, we could have, instead of shifted the story from Mike Schmidt, we made the main character William Afton, and make it a revenge story about a man with a dream when he was a kid about the early 1900s, where when he was a kid, you know, he was inspired by the bear shows, wanted to bring them to life, like, so he made like an earlier model of like the pizzeria, partnered up with Henry with the brains, who beat him at his own game. So he partners up with him, not knowing the costs, going from a man with a dream wanting to entertain kids and like do all this stuff, being like considered an entertaining hero, go from that to being a psychotic villain. Because the villain arc would have been amazing to see on screen. Like, imagine the shift from, I'm gonna take precautions from Henry, I'm gonna deal with the machines, they're gonna be great, I have ideas, we can bring them to life, to him losing his kids after he got a family started afterwards, loses each of his family, starting with the Bite of 83, and he could have went from that to being enraged by losing his kid from a machine that was made by the owner. The shift to grieving to getting revenge by killing his daughter, going, if I can't succeed to have a family, then my partner will not either. And it would have been from him just a simple revenge, taking it too far, then turning into a monster, and a gradual shift. And if you're doing a trilogy on that, which is a planned trilogy, which what I've heard from, could have gone from Afton era from the first one, the post-Afton era in the second one, and then the crazy climax of the third one. You know, trash amalgamation. I kind of want to see that as a kaiju fan. That would have been great. Those are my thoughts. Let me know if you agree with them in the comments below. I guarantee some of you are gonna agree with, like, this could be the FNAF movie. Though I did enjoy Corey, MadPat, and the Living Tombstone being, like, special appearances. That was great. But yeah, that's all I got to say. I'm sorry I've not posted in a while. Granny, I wanted to try Granny again. But until then, I'll see you next video. Bye-bye!